I was halfway through a perfect piece of salmon at Hearth and Harbor when a 5-year-old in a red dress slid into the chair across from me and said, "Mister, if you give me your leftovers, I'll tell you a secret." Fork in my hand, room full of people pretending not to look, and this kid staring like she'd practiced courage in a mirror. "You know what I mean," she said. Her name was Lily, that she wasn't supposed to bother anyone. But I looked like I wouldn't mind sharing. The manager was already marching over, tight, smile ready to escort her out. I waved him off and asked what secret, and she leaned in, calm like a tiny grown-up, and told me her mom hadn't eaten in 3 days. She pretends. "So I won't worry if you give me your leftovers, I'll take them home, but if you have more, please," she won't ask. She's proud, and just like that, the air narrowed as salmon. I'd been judging for being a minute over a child who weighed almost nothing. A room full of people with their eyes averted. Yeah, that happened. I told the manager to pack a week of meals, real food, no scraps, tipped the kitchen like they'd just catered a wedding, and asked Lily to take me to her mom. The apartment was a blue walk-up on Birch Avenue, paint-tired, garden tidy, like someone said, "Dignity lives here, whether or not the rent is late." Lily knocked a code. The deadbolts clicked, and her mom opened the door in a bright blue scrub top, eyes going from sleep to fierce in half a second. "I'm Logan," I said. "Your daughter made me an offer. I couldn't refuse." Lily blurted. I told him the secret. He brought food, and I watched embarrassment and pride fight it out on the woman's face before she stepped back and said, "I'm Ava, come in, but we're not a charity case," I told her. "Neither am I. Neighbors, help neighbors." My neighborhood just happens to be the whole city. The place was spotless. Second-hand desks stacked with computer science textbooks, fridge covered in crayon galaxies, a calendar jammed with night shifts and diner shifts. I asked about the degree. She said she'd finished it before life got loud, said she cleaned offices midnight to 6, worked the diner 7 to 3. Napped when Lily napped, said they'd be fine as soon as they caught up to what I asked. She touched the counter like it could steady the truth. Medical debt. Lily had pneumonia last year. Complications even with insurance. It swallowed us. I asked when she'd last eaten. Her mouth said, Tuesday, before her pride could stop it. It was Friday. Something hot rose in my throat. That had nothing to do with them, and everything to do with a city where a woman like that starves, while I complain about salmon being overcooked by a minute. I told her I run Pierce Dynamics, that we were building a mobile division, that I could offer training, salary benefits, hours, that made sense for a single mom. She laughed. A little, sounded like something breaking and holding. "At the same time, you don't know me," she said. "My code is rusty and my kid needs me more than a gamble." "It's not a gamble on me," I told her. "It's a bet on you," and then life cut in with no manners at all. Lily swayed, went pale, and crumpled. Ava caught her. I called 911 and we rode a siren through a city that suddenly felt too loud. In the ER, Dr. Patel explained how malnutrition can boomerang when a child's body finally gets a real meal. "She'll be okay with fluids and observation." She said it gently. I told the billing desk that cost was not a word we were going to use today, later in those plastic chairs under fluorescent lights. Ava stared at the floor and asked me why. Why help us? Why care? And the only answer that felt honest was this: because your daughter asked me for leftovers, and I realized I'd forgotten what it felt like to be useful, because I've been successful for so long. I mistook quiet for peace because you shouldn't have to hold this alone, you know what I mean. Monday came. Ava showed up at our office in a green blouse and nerves jammed under her ribs. Lily started at Maple Grove Academy, with braids tight and a backpack too big. I set up a little desk in the corner of my office for after school, pencil jar, colored paper, a cheap telescope because she said she liked stars. We gave Ava a real ramp, 2 weeks paid upskilling, a mentor who actually mentored hours, that let her be a mom and a developer. She kept trying to repay me in dignity points, saying, "We'll pay you back, like kindness accrues interest." I told her to pay me back by building something that mattered, and she did. Whiteboards bloomed with a math app that didn't shame kids, apples, for addition pizza for fractions, confetti that celebrated without screaming, hints that felt like a patient teacher, not a smug one. Lily tested every build and called us out. The stars are too loud. The hint sounds like the teacher who doesn't like me, and Ava fixed it again and again. The rumors started like they always do, kitchen whispers and hallway silence. Charity case, pillow promotion. You can hear a smirk even through a closed door, but data gets louder when you let it. 3 schools piloted SparkPath, scores jumped. Teachers used words like engaged and agency. Our head of product said Ava's instincts were ridiculous in the best way, so we took it to the board. Glass walls, big view, small minds. Dale leaned back and called the proposal. Cute, said. Mobile ed is crowded, margins thin. We're not a charity. Ava didn't flinch, said. It's not charity, it's market fit. We're not gamifying worksheets. We're rebuilding how instruction feels. Early numbers up, 24%, engagement, up 200, reading and science next on the same engine. Dale's smile went sharky. Data can be coached, and Ava came back with kids can be coached. We're coaching. Curiosity, silence our CFO. Marisol said she wanted it, but under our roof it'd suffocate, spin it out. Ava at the wheel with majority, the room inhaled like she'd set it on fire. Dale scoffed and said, "We're not handing control to someone who arrived with a sob story," glanced at me like I'd dragged a stray, and asked if this was personal. I told him to watch his mouth and vote. The motion passed by a hair in the hallway. Ava shook and laughed and said I should have let her tell Dale where to put his golf clubs next time I told her popcorn on me. Somewhere in there, we became a family. Without paperwork. Lily tripped on my rug. I caught her. She blurted thanks. Dad froze and then cried because she thought she'd broken some invisible rule. I knelt and told her if she wanted to keep that word, I wasn't taking it away. She tested it again. Thanks, Dad. And the world didn't end. It got brighter that night on Ava's stoop. We said the quiet part out loud, that whatever we felt had to be about who we were, not what we'd survived the next week. I proposed without the ceremony, and with the ring, Lily woke up from a beanbag in the SparkPath reading corner and whispered, "Say yes, Mama," like the ending of a movie that finally made sense, and she did. Small church white roses, lily and yellow scattering petals with military focus. Yeah, that happened. If stories ended there, they'd be fairy tales, but the twist came the way real life throws elbows, not 2 weeks after we announced a statewide rollout. The headline hit from leftovers to leverage. Did Logan Pierce buy a CEO? The piece wasn't entirely unfair, which is why it burned. Asked if I manufactured a heroine. If our bootstrap story was really my privilege in a nicer suit. The comments were a bonfire. Some called us a miracle. Some called us PR with a child in front. The comms team drafted a safe quote. Ava wrote her own SparkPath exists because a little girl refused to let her mom go hungry, and because one man decided to be useful with the power he already had. If you're mad, be mad at a world where talent starves in a city of excess. If you want to help build something, or join us. And then we turned off our phones and went to Lily's science night, where she explained metamorphosis like it was a family tradition. On the drive home, she asked if we were in trouble. We said we're not what they say we are. We're what we do next, so we opened our books, published salaries, built paid apprenticeships with childcare for caregivers re-entering tech, gave away parts of our roadmap. Because if somebody else teaches a kid better, that's not our loss, that's the point. Dale called me a fool. I told him to start a foundation. or retire Marisol told us to brace for chop and keep making the product too good to ignore. Schools talked parents, talked kids, talked with logins and minutes and measurables, and the noise faded into the sound of something real. We still argue at our kitchen table, pasta sauce on Tuesdays, Lily practicing fractions on actual pizza, Ava laughing sunlight into the room, me learning patience the hard way, and the headline still shadows us now and then. Was I a fixer with a savior complex, or a neighbor with resources? Was Ava reckless to accept a hand, or brave to take a chance when pride would have starved her? Is meritocracy a bedtime story? Or can we bend it towards something truer? Here's where I land. Most days, small acts change big systems when you stack them and refuse to get cynical. And also, yes, power should have better manners. You know what I mean? So if a kid ever slides into your booth and asks for leftovers, listen. The secret she's carrying might change her life and yours. And if this hit you in the gut or rubbed you the wrong way, tell me in the comments. Who was right? Who was wrong? What would you have done? Where have you seen someone judged before they even opened their mouth? Or handed a shortcut they didn't earn? Argue with me, teach me something. And if you still believe small acts can break big cycles, like subscribe, share it with someone who needs a push to be useful today.